Good morning, everyone. Hope you are fine. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Share. Can you see it? Are you seeing it? Okay. All right. I'm going to talk about our paper reporting, well, our manual reporting, as they call it. One thing, the principles when you're doing manual reporting is that it must be clear, timely, as means submit it on time. It must be accurate, and it must reconcile, which means that whatever you have reported on your reports has to be in the bank account for the NEC so that they both reconcile together. Okay. This here is the stationery what's usually used for manual reporting, the various books and envelopes and banking things that you will see that you use for those who are doing electronically, you'll see there's some items there that you would use as well. That's the stationery that you will get. Most of them you get from us at the Treasury Department. The banking, I'll tell you about the other afterwards. So the starting process usually starts with Sabbath school offering, where it's collected and recorded by the deacon and deaconesses in the deacon record book. Maybe some of you might use it, or maybe you haven't been using it. But the money also is then given to the treasurer, who has to recount it and verify that whatever the deacons have counted and recorded is accurate. And they put a signature on the same book. Then the other tithe and offering, which usually is collected and recorded after the divine service. So this is a deacon's offering record book. That's the one that we would usually send out to our local churches when they request it. And this is where the deacons record their book. This is just an example of something that would be recorded and how it's recorded. You can see it must be dated, name of the offering. This one was Sabbath school, the amounts that was collected at the time, signature of the deacon who's actually counting at that time, the head deacon. Then the agreed by, that's usually the treasurer who would sign there and say that they agreed to the amounts that was shown. And where it says here, the church treasurer's receipt number, that relates to the reporting book, that it shows the same as this figure here. And I'm going to go on and you will see what I'm talking about. Okay. So the next, not only do you collect loose offering, but you also collect tithe and offering envelopes. Now, this is the initial part of your recording. You get an envelope from, we'll just use Joe Bloggs here, and he's given you tithe of 250, Sabbath school. He's given £25 and £25 for budget, giving you £300. It could be a check, it could be loose cash, but that's the recording, and that's what you have to record in your book. The next book that you would have to record it in, that same envelope that we've just seen, is in this book called the Conference Treasurer's Report Book. In this book, you have the pages or receipt pages, and you are to list on, as you can see, this is the actual page number. And then you put the member's full name. Where do you see the arrow there? Full name. You also got to put on the other side where it says total, the total column, you put the amount, the total amount. So like we had with the tithe and offering envelope, it was £300. £300 goes in the total, and then you do your division. So we know that it was 250, that was for tithe. We know that it was £25 that went for Sabbath school, and for the local funds, it says it doesn't have any listing on there, but you will put church building or church budget on there. So we would put church budget 25. This is an example of what it would look like. So as you see that one envelope, I've got Joe Bloggs. I've put 250 in my total, and I've put, oh, the 200 has gone down, but the £200 will be in where the tithe is. Sabbath school is 25, and as you can see, the local funds. When it comes to your totaling, you can see that at the bottom, my total figures is the amount that of all that's been listed above. And that figures that is put in at the bottom will become my opening balance on the next page. But this, sorry, let me go back. How do I go back? Go back, yeah. Yes. So it would be like the next page, it will be on the brought forward. Okay. But one thing to note is that I'll try and make sure that you just stick to having months together. Do not, I mean, when I say months together, you have put January's transactions, all January's transactions together. Even if you have one members that's listed on the one page, and then you're going on to a next month, just cut it off from that particular page and then start a new page with the new month so that there is no crossing over when the auditor looks at the paperwork. They don't want to be seeing January and February's figures in the same page. Okay. The next book is a gift aid treasurer's report, and this is what it looks like. And in here, it's very similar to the conference treasurer's report. The difference is that these are gift aid members. So you're doing similar recording. The only difference is that you're going to be putting the gift aid number. Just where it says the member's full name underneath, you've got a reference number box. You will put your gift aid numbers for the members in that box. And an example I have shown you is this one here. Okay, can you see? I put it in the wrong box. Sorry, that's because I was. All right, so where it says 7,
I assume.
where you say where you see the number 7834556, it will go where the reference number is. Okay, so that's just my mistake, and the recording is very much similar to what I've told you before, and the same principle when you reach to the end of the page is brought forward for the following page that you will be using. Okay. Things that should not appear on your gift aid treasurer's report is no anonymous donations, Sabbath school offerings. With the loose offerings, they said it can if you want it to be gift aided. And with the gift aid offering, especially for loose offering, is up to 8,000 per building. So if you're a church that shares building, it's split between the two. Okay. And not to record anybody in the gift aid's treasurer's report who do not have a gift aid number. Okay, I hope that's understandable. Right, the next one, and this is the report book that you would use at the end of the month. This is where you're going to do your total recordings. So in here, you're putting your monthly totals. So if it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you're putting the total amount of tithe, total amount of Sabbath school, 13th Sabbath, or what other offerings that you have collected during the month. I'm going to give you an example because I want to show you something. Right, so as you can see that I've got 2 books, and those are my total from the 2 books that I have given for the month. I've got my local budget at the bottom. Please, when you're doing reports, especially on the summary report, if you've got local funds, please make sure you put local funds, because if you put Sabbath school, I'm going to assume that it's conference money. So if you don't say local funds, it will be recorded as conference funds. So just make sure that you have filled this, especially on this particular sheet, make sure that you fill it in completely and accurately. On the right-hand side of the sheet is where you have filled in your banking deposit. So that's money that you've banked after every Sabbath. please put the actual date that you've gone in and you've actually banked the money. That's the date that you're going to put on this sheet, not the date when you collected it, but the date that you've banked it. And on the right-hand side is the money that you've actually put into the account, not what you've put something different. It needs to be accurate because then you will find that there's differences. When I go through your actual report, I'm finding in our statement that you said you banked this in the account, and I find something different on the statement. So please make sure that you accurately fill in this sheet as accurate as possible. You're putting also on the top that it's for a particular month. So we're saying January. You put your church name so I know what church is from. And also at this point, every church has a church number. If you don't know what your church number is, please send me an email and I'll be able to let you know. But this is important when you're doing this top sheet to have your church number and your church name as well. Make sure that you sign at the bottom as a church treasurer so I know who has actually completed it and if I need any queries and so forth. So that's the conference treasury report summary. So make sure that this is done accurately and that the sheets that you put with this is the conference treasury report sheet as well as the gift aid sheet if you're completing those two. All right. So this report is to record the summary of the accumulated figures that are recorded in your conference treasury report and also the gift aid treasurer's report for the month. Now, the bank deposits must be recorded with the date and the amount. Please don't leave it empty. Please make sure that you put all the figures correctly and ensure that all of the sheet is completed. And make sure that this summary sheet is sent with your pink sheets and your blue sheets. And all the figures are accurate and reconcile with your reports books as well. Okay. Now we go into the banking part for banking your tithe and offering. Right. The monies and checks that are collected need to be recorded and deposited to the bank by Tuesday following the Sabbath's collection. So if you had from yesterday, so the Tuesday that is coming, that's when you would bank all of your tithes and offering. And it can be done via the various avenues using your deposit book, which is supplied by us. You can do it through, if somehow you forgot your deposit book, you can go into the branch, you can use their deposit slip, but please ensure that the teller knows to put as reference your church name or your church number as the reference. Also, what I've noticed that some people said that they have been doing it, but it comes up on our statement as numbers. So I would say if you can send me an email to say, look, I've deposited this, I went over the till and I deposited this amount. That way I'm not trying to find out who this anonymous donation that was put into the account that well, not donation, deposit was put into the account, and I don't know what church it's come from. An easy way as well to do it is from using a bank transfer from your local church to the NEC church account, using your church number or your church name as a reference. It's very important in regards to us trying to reconcile the money that's coming into the conference and attaching it to the reports that have been submitted. The next thing, which I think is also a good one to do, is a deposit bag, which is the quick deposit bags that you can use. You use it to bank your checks and your monies, and it's done via machine, so you don't have to queue up. The other alternative, if you can't do any of these, is to send a check in the post to the NEC. Right, this is what the bank deposit book looks like. You will see that each church has their own deposit book. This one here is belonging to the church, and that's the church number here, as you can see, the 22. So when we actually look into our statement, we see that our 22 has made that deposit, so we can tie the deposit to the church. So that's why it's important to use our deposit book. The other way I did say is to do a bank transfer from local church to the conference account. Those are the account details. Again, using your church or your church number as a reference so that we can track your deposits, so that when we're doing your reports, we can find your deposits. And that's the quick business deposit bag and what it looks like. You can actually get these in the branch. They'll give you like a whole envelope full of them. And you can avoid just queuing up if you haven't got time. When I'm usually doing conference banking, I use this method, and I just literally, it takes me 5 minutes of doing this and coming out. So if you're on your lunch break, you can do this quickly. Okay, just asking your branch. Or for those who are sending by check, if you're worried about, the postage, we've got our own business reply, which is usually supplied by us. Just need to ask, but I usually send it out with your report, so you should have quite amount that's there. So make sure that the checks that are sent to the conference, that you are signed it and dated it, and that it's made out to the NEC or the North England Conference. And you send it in this particular envelope, so you don't have to worry about the postage because it's already paid for. Right, other Treasury recordings, that is this local church funds receipt book, and this is used for your local church payments. I've just given an example of, like you might have the church windows cleaned, and this is where you would do a receipt to give the cleaning company a receipt. Okay. Right, things that you need to remember. Remember that with the gift aid numbers in the gift aid treasury report, and the other entries need to go in the conference treasurer's report, and record the same month on a page, putting all the months together and not putting 2 months in the same page. And that the summary totals at the bottom of each page becomes the opening of the next one. This is the important part. Take your time and double check your work. Please do this, because when you rush, you make mistakes, and then it just puts a difficulty when I'm trying to process your reports. There are inconsistencies or there's mistakes that I can't reconcile your report with. And your writing, please make sure that the writing is clear, not scribbled, and making sure that that it can be read clearly. And when you make a mistake, instead of scratching big lines, no, just start a new page. Just start a new page instead of making a lot, because what it does, it also makes it unclear for me to read sometimes. Right, important that when you're counting your tithe and offering on the Sabbath, that there's more than one person to count and verify what's been collected. Please make sure, don't be counting on your own. Please check that, this is important. Please check that your checks that you're getting, that they're filled in properly, because what's happening is that checks are being returned because either they weren't filled in properly, or there was mistakes or so forth, and it could have been picked up at the local church instead of being banked. Okay. If this is another thing to ask, if a check has been returned, and I've informed you, when you're recording when they send a new check, when you're recording for the new check that was returned, do not record it in the new month, because that money has already been recorded the previous month. So you just need to send that particular check separately, and just send me an email and say, okay, Joe Blogs they've give me a new check for the one that was returned. I've sent it separately for the amount of, yeah? So that's very important because then after you would just have your books will start to not be reconciled at the end of the month because there's been a deficit because of the check and you recording it twice and so forth. Okay. Tithe and offering that's collected on Sabbath day must be banked the following Tuesday or as soon as possible when you get your statements. Try and see if you can make sure that, sorry, soon as possible, not when you get your statement, soon as possible. Send a copy of your monthly banking to myself. I find that there are still churches that are just putting money into the account and I don't know what church it's from. So this year I'm asking if you can send me either an email saying that this is what we banked this month for the January report, or just send a clipping or a copy of your bank deposits. Just send me a copy with your report itself. And as you may not be aware, those who are new, our submission date for all our reports is the 10th of every month or as soon as you receive your statement. Right. I've repeat myself there. Mine is, yeah. Yes, don't worry about the first two. Update your addresses and your name with the NEC when there is a changeover of the Treasury team, please. That's important because we don't want to be sending out correspondence to the old treasurer and then be finding out, and that's what's commonly known. Then we're finding out that there's a new treasurer that's in place when it could have been done from time. So please ensure that if there's a changeover of Treasury, please let us know. And also, in terms of your banking, please make sure that you're up to date with NatWest banking profile. Make sure it's correct and has the new treasurer's name and address. And contact the Treasury Department for any stationery that you might need. You saw all the various stationery that we have there. So if you need anything that's running out, you've got report books and you're on your last sheet, please don't wait till your last sheet to tell us. Give us a bit more time so that we can be able to send it out to you in proper time and that you would have your book on time as well for you to record. Right, these are the very support that you have. You know, Michael told you about clicking on the link to give you, to update us with your Treasury. And also we have a WhatsApp group. It's purely for support and advice, nothing else. We also have myself, I deal with doing the gift aid for the churches, gift aid statement that is. So if you need to know what your gift aid trust account, what the balance is, you would email me and ask me for that. Anything relating to the reports, the tithe and offering reports, you can ask myself. That's my email address, and I'm the point of contact for the tithe and offering. As Michael has told you, that Becky and myself does the church bow support. The gift aid support is Joycelyn. And I forgot to put there the ACMS support is Noel, and the local church audit is Franca. I think I have question time now. So if anybody wish to ask any questions, you can do so now.
Can I just check, Kathleen? In our church, we
Sorry, just to stop you there, but there was someone who actually put their hand up.
sorry,
1 minute. Can you put your hand up on electronically so that I remember you and okay, so
do that.
is that Chester Church, the treasurer? Yes,
Oh,
go ahead.
yes. Thank you, Kathleen, for the presentation. Just a little clarification that I seek. when you said to send the pink copy and the blue copy back to the conference, I think the blue copy is the summary of the monthly proceedings to the conference. I just wanted to clarify if it is the blue or the white, because we've always sent the white and then the blue stays
No,
with
it's the
us.
blue. There's the top sheets of both. So the gift aid is the pink sheet, and the conference one is the blue sheet. The white sheet is the one that remains with the church.
Oh, isn't that the that's for the where you record all of the offerings. I'm struggling to remember the name for that one, but I mean the stationery has a blue stationery, small stationery
Oh, the
where
small
you record.
stationery, yeah. If all your church members are gift aiders, then obviously the conference treasury report you would put everything just on the pink sheet. But otherwise than that, you've got the small blue book, which is the conference summary.
That's the one I mean. Yeah,
Yes,
isn't it the white? Isn't it the white copy that goes to you? Is it the blue one?
yes, the white copy goes to us, the
That's
top
the one I mean.
copy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And before you, Nigel, can I ask, Alvenia? I don't know if I pronounced your name properly. Sorry, sis.
Sorry. Sorry, could you just confirm that was just on the back of what the person before me just said? Which is the white sheet that you have that you need?
There's no what the only when it said the white sheet, it's talking about is the small book, the summary book. You remember when I said where you put all your the month's summary of your tithe, your Sabbath school, that small white sheet is what
Yes.
goes on top.
Okay. On top to yourselves, or do we keep on at church?
There is a copy because it's two copies that you when you're
Oh,
writing,
okay.
there's one below. So you keep the bottom the one and the top one goes to us.
Okay. Then also, sorry.
Yeah.
I think last week in the training, it was stated that it was better to have more than two people do the count. Uh,
Hmm.
in our church at the moment, we've got deacon or deaconess. Both of them count the offering, each of them individually, but then they both sign the book, and then Treasury now counts it as well in front of them and signs the book as well.
Hmm.
The two signatures from the deacon and deaconess department, or just the one signature?
I guess it's two of them that's doing it. As long as you verify, like you can verify their actual amounts and making sure that it's fine. Because don't put your signature if you haven't counted it. If you haven't counted it and verified that what they've given to you is correct, then you can put yourself in trouble.
Okay,
But
sorry.
yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine for you to have it. But I would say good practice is to make sure that there's two individuals that are the deacon and the deaconess count together rather than
Okay.
individually.
Okay, and sorry, just one more. The gift aid book. Do we just request a report, say who's gift aid, and then record it in there?
Yes, once you've got members and they've given you their tithe envelope and they've got the gift aid on number on it, you are to put it on the gift aid treasury report book. That's where you're supposed to put it on. And what it does is when it comes to myself and I process it, it goes afterwards to Joycelyn so that she can process it for the gift aid. So it's very important so that we can capture the members that have gift aid, that we make sure that we put in the right book.
Do you put it in another book as well, or just the
No,
gift?
no, it's in that pink sheet that we
Okay.
we put the gift aid.
All right.
That's
Thank
if
you.
you're doing it manually. But if you're doing it online, it's a different process, and Becky and them will go through that stage with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Twinkle team next.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so new in this office, so probably some of the question may seem so funny. With the reporting, I'm a little bit confused about this pin sheet stuff, but I know that these internal recordings are for internal balancing. What about the ACM reporting? I know that if we balance
Yeah,
over,
this is
balance over there,
that
everything is okay.
Yeah. In terms of you doing the ACMS, my colleagues Becky and Noel will teach you the electronic part. This is just for those churches who are still doing manual reporting.
Oh, that's
You
great.
you you could I'm just showing you the process by which you would do your manual reporting from getting your offerings, your tithe and offerings to recording it in various books.
Oh, that's fine. Then my
Okay.
next thing is um if in case maybe somebody although we are not on the SCM system, but if in case somebody pays money through the 7Me app and it's being recorded as Thanksgiving, but actually he was doing it for local, but he mistakenly picked it for. In that case, how do you reconcile?
Sorry, anything that's made on the 7Me, we already reconcile that, and any local money that's sent via 7Me, we return it back to the church. It's not for you to record that.
Oh,
Okay, we really do that because it comes directly into our account, so we have to give you whatever's needs to be returned to the local church.
okay. Then lastly, I'll also suggest or advise that new people that we are coming to office,
Mhm.
I am really pleading that um the team should really help us to at least stick into the system. Because what I'm saying is, you're almost ending a month, but
Mhm.
this setup system onto the system is a bit slow. I really
Mm.
suggest that we are still learning on the job, but your team should also help us in the at least in the transition process because not
Okay.
everything that our predecessor can even give it to us, but we can learn a lot on the system or on the work. So I suggest that at least you should help to facilitate the transition process because as of now, I'm not still in the system, but I've been working since then. Yeah, emails
What
have
I
been
was gonna
sent,
go ahead.
but no attention.
What I would suggest, and I say that to all treasurers, we won't know until you tell us. So the best thing to do is get in contact with us. If you're struggling, or that's why the whole important thing about being on the WhatsApp group as well is so that, oh, if you're struggling, that there's an easy way for you to contact and say, look, I'm having difficulty on this particular thing, can you help me out? Or call the conference office and say, look, I've just started my role and I'm struggling. I need help. Can you help me? But otherwise than that, we would assume that things are working. So as until you actually contact us or make contact with us and say that, oh, can you help us? That we'll be able to. We don't even know sometimes when there's a transition of a new treasurer because sometimes the church doesn't filter that information down to us. So I'm sorry that you weren't helped, but please just get in contact with us and let us know where we can help you.
Uh,
Okay.
okay, so still coming back again. Um, I think last week we filled that form, but we have not been added to the WhatsApp. Emails have been sent, I think, about 2 weeks or a week ago. Follow-up have been made. So I don't
Okay.
know the kind of contact that you want us to.
I'm stepping right here. Just so in
Okay,
terms of
that's fine.
communication, I've already put it in the group in the chat that following this second week, we will be going through all the forms, just to go through them, and then we'll be making all the necessary changes at that point. So yeah, bear with us. And just to add, as over the last couple of years, we've started something called Connected Leadership, which was heavily led by the Treasury Department, where we do offer some training. And really, that was one of the main reasons why we got together to have this time, was that people can get ready for their role within the Treasury Department beforehand rather than just now. So if you, for example, if you do go onto YouTube and type in Connected Leadership, Nottingham Conference, you'll see some of the workshops you'll see the workshops that were taking place within the Treasury Department, and just to familiarize yourself with what is needed. But yeah, so we have started to put things in place. But yes, yeah. So in terms of the job forms that have been done, it will be we will be dealing with them now that the second week is going to be completed by the end of this session. Okay, Natalie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was going to lower my hand because my question was answered, but as I put a question in the notes, I felt that I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Oh, okay. When you mentioned the books, that made me panic. I did panic because I'm not doing the books. I'm doing the one on the Deacon's book because I don't know if you can see my question. I said I only been in this role since May, as the current treasurer didn't want to transfer to the IT element of ACMS. So I have never been informed to do all those other books. I only do the Deacon's book when the money is counted. And then when I put it on ACMS, I put it into the various departments as per what it is on the tithe envelope. So I don't need to fill in all those books because we're digital.
Yes, that's correct. I was going to say that the deacon and the local church receipt book is the only books that you would be using in terms of that, and the banking book.
Okay,
But
because
the other
I'll
books
lower
are
my hand, but thank you.
that's okay, no problem. Go ahead, sis. Alfine.
Oh, no, sorry. I was going to say, can H go next? Don't know if he's already spoken. And
Oh,
H,
sorry.
if you can just say who you are as well, please, because otherwise we may have to remove you.
Yes, it's Horatio from Bilston in Wolverhampton.
Hi, Horatio.
Hey, you're right.
Yes, I'm fine.
Yeah, the question I have isn't really about the books, so I'm not too sure whether it's covered previously because I wasn't on last week's meeting. But as a treasurer, when it comes to auditing, what sort of paperwork and things should we be collating or keeping together on a monthly basis in terms of any future audit processes?
I think Franco had covered it last week. Franco, are you still here?
Yeah, so can Horatio, can we come to that question later? I'd rather stick with the tithe and offering reports for now.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
And yeah, there's a couple of things that you can do. Once we can release all the recordings from last week and the presentations, that information's there as well. If you do type in, I think when we did our last presentation as well, it's also there as well. So we can give that information to you. But what I'd also suggest as well is that you contact Franca. So all that information can be shared with you as well. So we can answer that question and we can share that information because that is something that's been addressed. But I'd rather stick with just the tithe and offering direct specific questions at this present moment. Please.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'll be in touch.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Nigel?
Yes, thank you, Kathleen, for the presentation. One query, excuse me. The things you said that should not be put on the gift aid report included, you listed their Sabbath school. Now, if somebody puts money in an envelope when they're a gift aid person, and that includes like tithe plus Sabbath school plus budget offering, that would be recorded there. Am I right in thinking that when you said Sabbath school, you were not including? You are meaning the money which is collected in cash on a Sabbath morning?
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's okay. Is it
Kobina?
yes. Kobina? I don't know if I pronounced your name.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I know who you were talking to, so it's all right.
Okay.
Just to ask a quick question with regards to new churches, new church companies. We're just recently in a process of becoming a company right now, so we don't have anything in place whatsoever. We don't have a bank account. We don't have any of these things in place right now. Would we be going straight to ACMS as a new church company, or is this stuff that I'm hearing now about the physical books and all that, is that relevant to us? Or are we just going straight to ACMS, so I don't really need to?
Yeah, so straight to ACMS would be
Thank you.
Dependent. I'll just need to double check with you, but you maybe still be working through your mother church. But if that's not the case, that'll be your process through ACMS. But the problem,
Okay.
you may not be, depending on the status and when you're being registered, you may not be on ACMS because you'll be working through your mother church. And so that's something that we'll just need to verify with you. So yeah, just
Sure.
get in contact with me so we can sort that out. Because that's why we need to have a conversation between us, Treasury, and the church clerk as well, or the secretariat.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Thanks very much.
Okay. Temwa, Aston Newtown.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Catherine, for the presentation. Mine just a question. When we do prepare our deposit bag, our local branch, they don't have the machine. So each time we go there, we just have to drop through the drop box. I've tried to speak to the staff to give this other. So if they have got a drop box in place, there's no need to give it to the staff. So how can be an alternative to this? Because sometimes just deposit the money and hope that the money has been processed, yet you don't have any evidence at all.
As you saw, I gave you 4 examples of different ways you can do it. You can either decide that you're going to send it in your send it via check, bank transfer. That means you still have to bank it into your own church account and then do a bank transfer. What was the other way that I did? So it was the check, bank transfer, the deposit book. Or you would have to go through that slow process. If your deposit book is the one that's got the barcode, you can actually go to the post office.
Or you can also use the post office, is it?
You can also use the post office.
Oh, okay, that's even better then. Okay, thank you so much for that.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Kathleen. Are there any more questions on this? Okay. Just to be very clear, the reason why we go through this process, the majority of our churches still use paper reports, and as we've mentioned before, we are planning to transition. But we know that this is the bread and butter of how we've been reporting for many years. So it's just important just so people know how to do this. Okay. All right. We are going to move across to ACMS and Treasury. And Becky Noel will be doing the presentation. But before we start, I think I'm just going to just give a top overview regarding 7Me and just give a bit of a breakdown and understanding of what it's all about. I'm sure most of you have heard it already. I have heard of 7Me, but it's just to pull things together again. All right. Let me just share my screen. Okay. All right. So 7Me is a members app. Okay. It's a members app, and it's essentially your phone at one touch. It's basically bringing your church to your device. Okay. And with 7Me, it is for your members, and it's for your members to basically have interaction with one another and with your local church. But the back end of it's with ACMS, and ACMS is essentially the package. And from a secretariat perspective, they've been using it since 2017 here in the Northern England Conference. And this is where church clerks, so when new members get baptized and we record their membership, or we record the personnel details of our members, it is done via the ACMS package. So you can kind of say there's ACMS Secretariat, and there's ACMS 7Me, which is the mobile phone, the mobile app, which you can use on all devices. And then we also have something called ACMS Treasury, and you can kind of say that's like the accounting package. And so it kind of combines all of them together. So then to make the user experience a little bit better. Okay. All right. So there are a few aspects of ACMS 7Me that is on the app. So what is the purpose of 7Me? It's to inspire. So you have prayer groups to support. So as your local church gets more involved and it becomes more interactive with the ACMS facility, you as a local church, you'll be able to put your church calendar on there. If you go on there right now, you should be able to see the North England Conference calendar of events. and you can see your local church information as well. If a local member wants to move their membership to your local church, they can start the process via their mobile phone, which will then give a notification to the church clerk, and then you can start that process from there, and that will continue the process. But it can start from your mobile phone. If you want to update your information, you can also do it on your phone as well, via the app as well. And then there's also a notifications field as well, where you can get the latest news across the North England Conference. So this is something that we've been working on. So when you go on there, you'll see links to our YouTube page, so you can see some of our latest videos as well. There's different apps as well. So if you want to get Energy White's writings or whatever, you can do that through the app as well. So ACMS 7Me, the application is the official application of the General Conference as of 2024. It's the official app for the General Conference. In the NEC, we have over 1,100 users that are using 7Me right now. ACMS 7Me is available in over 165 conferences worldwide, and there's over 40 functions on the application. So just very quickly, the purpose of the app is for it to just increase the transparency between the local member and the local church. As I mentioned before, you can see church schedules. You can have a snapshot, a dashboard of the local church's finances that members of that local church will be able to see. And it's just very top level in terms of percentages and in terms of how much income, how much expenses you've received, and where the money has been spent. So, for example, you could say that 50% of your income has been spent on evangelism, 20% has been spent on cleaning the church facilities, for example. There are different prayer groups that can be created on the app. You can create your own prayer group, but you can also just see the general prayer feed, the general prayers that I've made public that people want prayers for. I know that's something that I have used myself. On the homepage, it kind of gives you just the latest news within our territory. I think at this present moment, I may see if we can get the BUC news on there as well. I'm not sure if it's on there as yet. I'll just double check while we're going through this right now. So just a news feed, I think that'll be important so we know what's going on across our conference and in the union. Yeah, so if you go on there right now, you can click on the news and you can see information about Area 3 Adventurers and Pathfinder Shine Their Light, which was posted on the 15th. In terms of pastoral realignments for 2025, you'll be able to see that information there as well. In terms of communication, there's different apps that can be accessed via this platform. Essentially, what we're trying to do is just bring everything all together. So then you'll be able to, you don't have to go to different sources to get the information. So that's available there as well. And you'll be able to personalize your profile as well. Keep your information up to date. In terms of the good thing, especially from a Treasury perspective, if you do use this platform to return your tithe and offerings, whether that's gone through the NEC website, what you will be able to do is see your offering statement, and you'll be able to see essentially your receipts for all the offerings that people have, that individuals have done via the 7Me application. So NEC stats, just for now, since we started, we have about 1,130 new users. We've had around 7,300 total transactions. And to date, our total tithe and offering donations has surpassed the £1 million mark. For some of you that may not have downloaded the app, you can use this QR code here just to scan it so you can get it on your phone as well. So you just work with both Apple and Android to users as well. So you can download that there. And this just gives a snapshot of what it can do. As I've mentioned before, in terms of authentication, you can use a password, or it uses facial ID as well. And so it is secure from that perspective. Right, that's basically it. One thing just to give you a heads up, as I mentioned last week, some of you may notice that our website has changed. Last year, the BUC, who manages our websites across the union, were commissioned us to revamp our website. And so if you go there now, I know there's been a few teething issues that we have been communicating with the BUC. But if you go there now, you should be able to go onto the donate page, and you'll be able to return your tithe and offerings. This is done through Stripe, so we're no longer using PayPal, and Stripe is the backend that the 7Me application is using to collect our donations. So that's the backend of what's been for the 7Me application. So you'll see that it does look slightly different than our website now, but it should be as user friendly. If as individuals, if you do use 7Me to return your tithe and offerings, and once you go through the website and you go through 7Me, the web portal, what you'll find is that once you log in, the receipt as well would also pop up in the app as well, so you can have so you can see your donations there as well. Okay, that's it from me. I see, Jeremy, you have a question. I'll take your question, as this is kind of like the sub-presentation, the pre-presentation to what Becky and Noel will be doing. So yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah, just a very quick question, Mike. Thanks for your presentation. Going forward, looking at the blockchain and crypto as a way of reducing transactional costs for the conference, could you speak to whether or not the conference is looking at, or whether you directly, and I'm sure you are exploring what alternatives that may be available to you in terms of reducing transactional costs and the development of this new technology going forward?
Yeah, so in terms of investments and different forms of, I guess, digital currencies, there is an investment department at the General Conference that we have raised some questions. So I don't have a specific answer right now, but it is something that we have started to raise questions. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have a meeting with him back in November when we had our TD training sessions, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to be there in the physical form because he was unwell, so we weren't able to ask some of our questions that we have, but it is something that is on our radar that we will be able to, that I'm hoping I'll be able to get some information to you, and if anybody else that has any interest, because actually over the last couple of weeks, some people have been asking some questions about different forms of, let's just say, currency, and how we can use that for churches and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess one of the things, Jeremy, as well, just need to make sure that the GC policies are up to date for these these forms of financial instruments and activities as well. So that is something that we need to be on top of. So I really appreciate that question. Okay, Becky and Noel, I'm going to pass it over to you now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Wonderful. Let us start now. This is what we've been waiting for. So this is your look for the ACMS. As you can see, this is a demo site. That's why it's in red. But obviously your new official site is mostly in blue. However, so I'm going to show you how to enter your offerings on this system, and other things as well Noel is going to share with you. So when we enter our offering, normally you come home. At home here, you can see the look. It can show you how many members do you have and all these kind of things. You can scroll down to see many things. And here, it can show you the balances within your church. So this is a demo. It's only got one account, but some churches have more than one account. So you can have all of your accounts in here so that you can have a good data. So then how to enter our offerings on ACMS. You come here under income, you click income, and then under receipt, tithe and offerings, you click that one, and that is going to show you something like this. And then here you can just say here a new batch. With the new batch, I'm sorry, my dog is barking, but do not worry, it's okay. With the new batch, you can see there's a cash only receipt, and then there's a deposit EF transfers. The cash is, the cash that you collect on a Sabbath, and the deposit are the ones that you put in when you do those individuals who have transferred the money to your local current account. So I'm going to show you both how to use them. So I'll start with the cash only receipts, and then I'll say save. And then now I've created a batch. As you can see, I haven't changed any date because ACMS will like you to use every Sabbath as your batch. I know sometimes it allows you to have as many batches as you want, but make sure one of your batches is on the Sabbath. And then I'll come here and say capture. And this is very interesting. So now he's asking, who's the giver? Let's say somebody has given you an envelope. What you do is you type in their name. Maybe this is your church member. His name is Smith John. And then the category is asking you what is the offering that you have made. If it is for the tithe, you put tithe, and then you enter. And the amount, let's say this individual gave us £500. You save the line, and you notice what you can see on the other side is showing you that there's a £500 in here. And then maybe this individual gave us Sabbath school. So you enter Sabbath school, and there it is. And then you put £50 for Sabbath school. You save the line. And maybe there's a church budget. Since it's a church budget, I'll come under 55, a category 55. A category 55 is literally for the local offerings. And then here, this individual gave church budget and £50 or £50. I'll save the line. And if you are happy that this individual is given a total of £600, you can save the receipt. And it comes at the bottom here. Let us say somebody who gave you the offering is not from your church. Maybe, I'm from Grantham Church. Maybe somebody gave it is from Newark. And let's see what ACMS can do with that. I'll put here Adam. Adam, we have Adam. Because this is a demo church, probably all the names that I have are existing. Let's say somebody who gave you is not in your church. You can put in their name. I'll put like Peter something. Peter is there. Michael. or Michael is there. Anyway, let's search button. The search button comes with that individual's name. Maybe they are from Manchester, or maybe they are from wherever within the NEC territory. So it gives you that flexibility that you can able to find that individual as long as he's a member of our Adventist in the NEC territory. So for this occasion, I'm gonna show you how to enter your loose offering. Loose offering, you put it here as a donor, as a giver. And then here, it will force you to do this. What I'll do is I'll put Sabbath School. And on the Sabbath School, they've given us £100 under loose offering. And I'll save this. And they've given us a budget. For the budget, I'll use 51 because 51 is for the local budget. And then I'll put £50 again, and I'll save because I'm happy. So that's how simple it is for you to enter your donations on ACMS. And then when you're happy with this, and then what you can do is you can come under batches, and then you can close the batch, and they say, okay. So the moment you close the batch, the individuals are receiving the receipts. And then you can even view your receipts here as well. So that's that they come like this. But obviously, those who have email, they will get their receipt automatically. Those who doesn't, you can able to view it here and print it out and give it to them. So that's a cash bash. And now I'm going to show you how to use a bank batch. So you come here and then you select the deposit and transfer, and then you save it. So there we go. So it tells me who has created this batch. That is me. That's my name. And then I'll capture again. And then I'll give the individual's name. Let's say Michael. Michael has donated. And here what you need to do, you can select the bank. Let's say you've got more than one bank account. It's going to show you many banks. But on this occasion, we only got this bank. And then you can select the date the individual has donated that donation. I'll select the 12th. You can put a description if you want to, but I'll leave it as it is, as a default. And let's say Michael gave budget for that church, which is church budget. And he gave £100. And he gave Sabbath School £100 again. And then if you're happy that he has given £200, you can save the receipt. And then you go to another person according to your bank statement. That's the other person here. You change the date. And he gave tithe. And the tithe was for £600. You save the receipt. And then you are done. And if you are happy with the figures that you have done, you can close the batch. And then you can close it, say, okay. And then it's gone. So you have done all of your offering for that week. And then the next thing that you have to do is to calculate remittance. You come here, you calculate the remittance. And what does it shows us here? It shows you the total that you have done, which is 1,500, which is made out of £150 for the church funds and 1,350 to the conference. So now we are owing conference 1,350. And then you know exactly your remittance. And then you say, okay. And the next stage that you have to do, you come under this remittance payment. And then now you're telling the conference, what have you sent? What are you going to send? You come here, you select the conference bank. When are you going to send this? And then I'll select the 25. And then I'll put the description here as a test. And then I say save. And then that's it. And then I'm done with this offering. And that's how it is, as simple as possible, how to do the tithe and offering on the ACMS. So before I go to any other things that I need to do, do I have any questions, please?
Yeah, I've got a question. Hello, it's Darren Wood of Burton Church.
All right, Darren, I'm just going to, there's an order. So Temwa.
No worries.
From Temwa, and then we go to Elder Calvin, and then Mo, Joseph, Timothy.
Yeah, thank you so much once again. You know, when you're doing your demo for the loose offering,
yes,
the moment you choose loose offerings on the category, it always says loose offering. It doesn't, you don't have any other option of choosing any category. Has any way been found of going way around it, or the designers have just left it as it is?
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks so much, my friend. Yes, at this moment of time, as you can see that I was able to change it. It allows you to change it, but it comes as a default as a offering, as you said. That is for what is coming, you know, in future. You know,
that's it.
Yeah, that's coming in the future. So please do not worry about it. For now, just change it as you see fit. But when we start to do the other things that are coming in future, then it's gonna be useful.
They'll be able to change. Okay, that's all right. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And then we can go to Michael. You know the order. You can tell them.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
My question is, how does one gain access to this platform or app?
Yeah, in terms of gaining access, I've got it written down. I was going to do this at the very end, but I'll do it now. So essentially, so you will have your ACMS login. If you don't have one, you just need to create one, but you do that via your church clerk. Your church clerk will, and then your church clerk can give the Treasury team access to the Treasury side of the Treasury side of ACMS. So we would advise that obviously as your Treasury team would be voted at the board, and in tandem with that, you should be working with the church clerk, and then she'll be able to, or not she, or they will be able to just turn on the permissions for the Treasury team. If they are unsure, they can get in contact with the NEC Secretariat Department, and that would be Voangi or Chioma, as well as Pastor Emmanuel Brand, and they'll be able to assist with that. Okay, next it was, I think it was Timothy.
It was me.
Oh, no, yes, you're right. It was you, Mo. Sorry, forgive me.
Thank you very much. I was just going to ask Brother Peggy to please go to the home page after paying the remittance, just to see the impact that it will have on the cash receipted. But then the problem is I didn't check the balance before, the balance before, to see how it has changed. That's just what I wanted to see.
Yeah, actually, I can go there now so that you can see Right now, you can see that we've got a 650 on the cash balance.
Is that a negative balance?
It's a negative balance because the way I put in, I just put in random monies. But it's easier to fix this one. It's supposed to be I can do another one just to counterfeit that one to make sure that it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But obviously, once you have more money on the cashier, which is yours, you can transfer it to your, to your bank account as well. But I'm going to show you that. I'm going to just do another batch very quickly after the questions so that we can fix this.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Joseph?
Hi, Michael. Good morning, everyone. Just a quick one, follow up to what my brother asked about getting access to it. When you say create the account for it, you mean what do you mean actually? Is it the Treasury Department or the Treasury member who's going to create the account on it, or secretary is going to do that? Spoke to my secretary and she has no clue what to go by. So just a little bit of information just to see what goes on.
No problem. Thank you for the question. Happy to clarify. So sorry about that. Yeah, so in terms of creating accounts, so essentially the people that have access to ACMS, first of all, they have to be members of the church, okay?
Right.
And what should happen every time somebody's baptized, the church clerk, the local church clerk would register them onto ACMS, okay? And that's the secretariat perspective, okay?
Right.
And then what should happen is that you as a user, now that we're starting to use this, you would have an email address or whatever, and that needs to be then linked to your profile, okay? And that's essentially okay. So a lot of people have already started to use the 7Me application, and they would have registered and used their email address and in order for them to gain access to the 7Me, for them to have a profile, have an account with the 7Me side. What we do in the background, if there's any differences between the name or the email address or the person, say, for example, there's two different email addresses, but it's the same name. In the background, the Secretariat department, they link those together. So then you just have one profile. But then as we continue to move forward, as a Treasury team starts and a new person starts within Treasury team, they need to have access to the Treasury, to the ACMS Treasury side of things. And that's where the Secretariat or the church clerk from the local church should be able to log in to ACMS. They'll find that individual. And once they find that individual, they'll be able to assign them the right permissions. What is happening, the Secretariat department are having regular monthly meetings with the church clerks as well to equip them for their role. And this is one of the things that they cover as well. So if your church clerk hasn't been going to any of the Secretariat training, then I urge all of you as treasurers that you get on to your church clerks and tell them to start attending the training sessions so then they can be equipped as well. Because the Treasury Department and the Secretariat Department, we are working together. And this is another example of where the two departments have to work together to ensure that things run smoothly within the local church perspective.
Right. So just a top up. Well, we've got new people, coming in. We all use the church pile for in a case where, church pile and ACMS is two different things. So I'm not sure how the migration is gonna be. I don't know how it's gonna be, because if I do understand from last week, the idea is that I don't know how to do migration from ChurchPile to ACMS Treasury, because there's going to be balances from the other side that needs to come onto the new system as this one is fading out. So I don't know how best Becky and the rest can help us see how best to bridge the gap between transferring data from ChurchPile to that of ACMS, because we're talking about local current account and all those stuff. So how do we go by that?
Yeah,
Is
I think my brother, when it comes to, because I don't know which church are you?
Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester. Yeah.
Well, man.
So we can bring the new balances. Obviously, you have to start somewhere and then you move forward on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, Johnson, let me be very clear on this. So in terms of ChurchPal and ACMS, they're two separate,
Yeah.
completely separate. What we have in terms of ACMS, I'm not sure if Noel will be able to just give an example how it's been done, how to do it. But essentially, there's an Excel spreadsheet, and then what we need essentially is your balances from the bank, and
Right.
how that money has been assigned. So, for example, how much has out of that money, how much is for parkfinders, how much is for local church budgets. And so, as long as you have an up-to-date budget, we should be able to. It should be a straightforward exercise.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Just the last one. Oh no, I'm talking a little bit. Sorry about that. How do we get ACMS, well, the entire system onto, say, the computers, right? Because I know secretaries has got theirs on their computer. Are they the ones going to help us do?
All you need to do is have internet access, and then you just type in the URL into your web browser, and then you log in. Then you have.
Oh, okay.
It's
All
web.
right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's a web-based then. Okay. Right.
Just for the interest of time, we're going to take the rest of the questions. I'm going to finish at Glenda. So I see Timothy, Paul, Zoom user. I'm going to take you off, if I'm being brutally honest, just because I don't know who you are. So if you can just rename yourself so we know who you are, and then we can just add you back in, please. And then we have Darren, Nwanzu from Chester, JC, Natalie, and then Glenda. And then we're going to stop at Glenda, and then we're going to move on to Noel. What we will do, though.
Actually, Mike's, I haven't finished. I've got other things.
Oh, you got them. Okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so we'll finish at Glenda. But the maximum that we'll take is just 2 questions, or just 1 question and 1 follow-up on that, just so we can get it, because I'm conscious of the time. Thank you. Timothy?
Yeah, Michael, thank you so much. I want to start with the link between the names, the clarification that you gave. There have been a case whereby my secretary said he's having only 1 name, but at the treasury side, the names have been duplicated. And with that, I wanted to ask, if somebody is having his name on the secretary database and he downloaded 7Me, is he supposed to register or just to log in straight away? Because I've been a case whereby personally, when he's supposed to give me an access, my name, my 7Me app is totally different from what he's having. If I update, it doesn't update on his side. And when he's also does something, so it's like I have different accounts.
Yeah, so that's a fair question. What they need to do is get in contact. The church clerk needs to get in contact with the NEC Secretariat Department. So that'll be Chioma or Fuwangi, and they should be able to assist with that, because we have a page from the Secretariat perspective. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I could do that. I don't know what to do to zoom back out.
Don't worry, we can hear you.
Okay. Let me step back a little bit. Yeah, so what's supposed to happen? This is actually quite funny. What's supposed to happen is that in the background, the Secretariat Department will be able to link their accounts together. If it hasn't been done, please just chase your church clerk, and if they need to chase the conference, then that should be reconciled. And I've seen them do it for other people, so I know it is something that they do.
Okay, that's fine. Last one. When Becky, you're on the batch deposit side. I realize you put a bank account name there. Do you mean the bank name that the person sent from, or the church account name?
The church, that's your church account name.
Name.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
Paul?
Good morning. My question is regarding the entering the when you enter a donation and the donor has signed up to gift aid on the system, on the manual system. They've got a gift aid number. Sometimes I was told that all the gift aid numbers should have been transferred across to AFCS. Sometimes when I enter the person's donation, the gift aid box does not appear. Now, I'm presuming that is still gift aided, and that's matched up as at the NEC. Could you confirm that's the case?
Yeah, so I guess I'll take this one. Yeah, so over the summer we did the exercise of bringing in some temps just to get all the paper reports going back from 2022. It's actually an interesting exercise. Bit sad in some way that you go through names that are no longer with us and stuff. And we tried to assign them to their names. The majority of them we were able to do, but there were some that we did have challenges with. So yeah, but in terms of picking up the gift aid, we do pick up the gift aid. I know that we're going to be doing a fine. What we haven't done from the ACMS, because we're waiting for the template to be properly to be properly created. There's a couple of months that we haven't done. But what we can do is do a full batch as of December, just to pull all the historic ones together. So yeah, we do capture the gift aid.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Sorry, just a very quick question now. We're still waiting for the gift aid statement. We haven't had any gift aid money since or any statements since I think September time. Has that been caught up, and have you caught up with the reversions from the HMRC yet?
Yeah, so no, thank you for that. There was a delay with HMRC. We had quite a few months that came in December. And I think if I remember right, Becky, I think we saw some that came in last week.
It came up until September now, I think.
September. Yeah. So posting those ones. So Paul, please just get in contact with me and she'll be able to send you up-to-date statement. I need to double check that they've been posted, but yeah, I know we received the money now, so then yeah, that should be okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Darren, now it's you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Couple of questions. I return tithe directly to the NEC bank account. Would I enter that myself into the ACMS, or do you deal with that?
Yeah, we'll deal with that, Darren. Thanks so much.
And also, this is to Becky as well. Elder Calvin, I've seen a text from a chat from Elder Calvin asking the same question, which I was going to ask as well. Is there a chance for us to liaise with you to go through a few? Because it looks really easy when you go through it, but when in practice, it's going to be that easy when you're doing it yourself. Or is there some kind of leaflet that you do that actually shows exactly the process that you go through for each part?
Yes. Darren, in ACMS, in every page, when you go to the correct demo, because this is kind of like a practice demo, so it doesn't have all the features. So if you go to the correct demo, it's got a help. Let's say you're doing your tithe and offering a batch, it's got a help. So in that help, there's some videos that they can able to help you with that kind of question that you have for that particular aspect.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Wonderful, thanks. Next, is it Natalie?
Sorry, I'm here. Just a quick question. I understand the remittance and all that. And then because you can't move from 1 month to the next anyway until you've done it. Is there a report other than the that shows, you know, the financial transactions that show for the month with regards to the remittance, that actually shows you loading that on ACMS?
If you go to your remittances, it can show you exactly, you know, I don't know.
It gives you the what it is, and then you've got remittance summary, batch transaction report, and remittance payments. If I click on the remittance payments and you do that, what you've just done,
Yeah.
but is there a report that gives you all those remittance payments in one sheet for the actual year?
Yes, there is a report, Natalie. We can show you that one. Not to worry.
Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Let's go to now. Who's next? Is it JC?
Would that be me?
That is you, maybe.
With you. Just
There's two more to
uh,
go.
Thank you, Becky. So my question relates to entering the donation or offering from a member who is a member within BUC anywhere, but who is probably now either worshiping in your church for the first time, or worshiping in your church, but they've not transferred their membership. And of course, you did touch on this and how you can still search for them on ACMS and you'll be able to find them to record that offering against their name. But my question is about their gift aid. Am I correct to think that their gift aid will still go to wherever their membership resides?
Correct, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. JC, and then after that, is it Glenda?
June Collymore here. Hi, Becky.
Hello, June.
Hi. So my question is, I'm not quite yet on ACMS, and is there going to be a cut-off for when we will no longer be able to use ChurchPal?
At the moment, our treasurer said, you know, they're still working together. We don't know yet when it's going to be a cutoff. I don't know.
Okay. I guess for when I do actually transition then to ACMS, what if the member is not a member? Sorry, what if the person is not a member of the church? Could you still actually put their, and you have someone visiting and they're not actually a member? Could you still actually put that offering through the system? Or do you just have to, unlike on ChurchPal at the moment, we use the reference as anonymous. Is that the same with ACMS?
No, with ACMS, let's say, June, I come to your church and then I put an envelope there. So if you go to the search button, as I showed, my name is going to appear. And then you can able to click that name. And if person is not a member at all, then you can put not a member, and then you can put your details. Yeah. Okay. So more or less is still the same.
Sure. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you. And then is it Glenda?
It is, yes. Mine is about the administrative point. When you're searching for members, we found that we've got individuals who either are deceased or are no longer members of our church. And I'm just wondering if there is a module that talks between the ACMS that we use as treasurers and the ACMS used by the church clerk to actually reconcile membership.
Actually, it's a very good question. With the church clerk and then with the treasury, if we work together correctly, our membership will be up to date. So let's say a member is deceased or whatever happened, it won't appear when you enter your treasury stuff. You know, as long as we work together, the clerk and the treasury, then it makes it good.
It doesn't seem to be the case because our church clerk has done the reconciliation, taken off deceased members that have transferred out. But when I go into ACMS, I can still, if I'm doing like a member search or I'm just putting in my weekly tithe, individuals who are no longer at our church still come up. So I'm just wondering how we can reconcile that.
Yeah, actually, that is really a secretarial problem. But I'm sure if your church clerk will communicate with the NSC, and then they'll be able to rectify that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Becky, let me step on that one as well. It is really important that that your church clerk really does communicate with the secretariat department if there's some challenges. What we are going to find is that as treasurers, we are going to be using this platform on a regular basis. And sometimes the church clerks haven't been doing that previously. And so we realize that the church clerks really just need to make sure they're in active communication. That's the reason why we've got somebody specifically, we've got a specific person, a dedicated person within the Secretariat department, and there's a dedicated person, well, we have two people that actively use ACMS and help with some of the queries that we have within the Treasury department as well. And just let you know, we are in the process of bringing somebody over from Brazil that are experts on the system to help us go through this process as well.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Joycelyn, after that, I will move on to the next steps that I need to finish off.
Yes, someone was asking about gifting and the church that they are coming from. A lot of the time, there are members who are coming from London. They are ungifted, but you cannot use London's gifted number here in the north. You would have to sign up for a new gifted number. So if you have new members in your church who are coming from, even if it's another church, and you don't let me know, their number will still, their donations will still go back to the church that they were formerly gifted under. So please, especially if they're coming from London, they need to change their gifted number. Okay? Right?
Thank you very much. I will move on. I'll share my screen again. We get lots of questions about how to open a new department. So I'm gonna have to show you how to open a new department. Previously, NEC used to help you out with this one, but now the system has changed. So what it does allow you is to go all the way yourself. So you come here under departments, and then under under create and edit Treasury department, you select that one. One thing that I'll ask is before you create a department, try by all means to see if that department is available or not. I want to create Sunday breakfast department. So I'll type it in, search, and then it comes here. That department is not existing. So I'll come here and say new. And then normally we use Treasury as the church department. And then now you give it a name. That is where you give it a name. I'll put here Sunday breakfast. And then here, now this is the very important bit that you need to see. Do you want your members to see this department on your 7Me? If you want them to see it, do not click it, hide. Let it be there so that they can able to donate towards that department. And if you're happy with this, you approve it, and then you save. And that department is going to be shown on your 7Me as well, and your members at your church can able to donate towards that department. So I hope this is very clear. So you don't need NEC approval for your departments that you want to create. You can create as many as you want, and it's available for you. And then I want to touch on the asset register. Michael asked me to help us out here. As Sandra was speaking about the contents last Sunday, now we've got a facility that we can able to use to record our asset so that you can have an up-to-date inventory of your asset. And how do we do it, brothers and sisters? Here comes, you can say new as well, always new. Let's say you want to, you purchase, which one do I really want to do here? Okay, let's say we've purchased a pair, maybe a Samsung. This is a Samsung TV that we've purchased. which department is it coming under? So on the, maybe it's for the tech, but I don't think here we've got a tech department. So I'm going to just put it under church budget. And then here you give it a serial number. Let's say there's a serial number on the invoice that you've been given. I'll just put like this, quantity, how many did you purchase? Normally you purchase 1 or 2, whatever you've purchased, you put it here. And then the type of an asset is very important. On this one, as you can see, it gives you a list, vehicle, whatever you can name it. On this one, it's an electronic, as it is a computer. And the brand is a Samsung. And the model you can put as instead. And then the condition, you can put a condition here. If you bought new, you can just buy new. Most of our churches are buying things very new. And then when did you purchase it? It's asking you this. So my period is open for the 23rd. I'll say we purchase it on the 18th of September. And how much did you purchase it for? On this one, I will just say £2,000. And if you have purchased it on, let's say on sale, when it was cheap, maybe on Black Friday or something, you can put the original value here, which is 2,500, let's say. And then you can say save. Actually, I have made a mistake. I was not supposed to save. Somebody was supposed to correct me. I was supposed to select here as a list. This item needs to be insured. This is very important to do. And you can tell here, is it fixed to the building? So that's important. So I'll come here and I'll search for my assets. Exactly. So here is I can come here and then I can fix it. Do I need this item to be insured? I'll say, yes, I need this item to be insured. Is it fixed to the building? If it is fixed, you can say like that. And then you can able to attach even a lovely picture of it, which I think I have. I have here. And then I can put it. There we go. Look at this TV. Yes, this is beautiful. And then I can save it. Wow. So now I've got my asset here. So you can even see here, we've got lots of assets coming up here. Now they are here. What I can do is to approve them. So I'll come on this one and then I click on it and then I can say approve. It's been approved. And then I can approve this one as well. That's great. So it's listed and it gives you ability to put the votes on those assets. Let me come to my mark here. I can select this mark, search it, and then I want to vote it. So here comes, I can put here under the Mark Studio, and then I can put a vote, depends with your church board, how many did they vote? Let's say on this one, they voted, 25 voted for it. And then I can say vote. It can ask you to scan your minutes that your board has voted for. So I've created something here. That is the minutes for our church voting for that. And I can scan it. And then I can view it. Look at there. So it can show us, a little bit that they have. And then I can close it. And that's done. Wonderful. As you can see here, it's been recorded that even the vote is there. So that's what you do. And then you can have a list of all of your assets in your church, which can be very helpful when it comes to the renewal at the NEC. I think I am done. Any question after that, we can move to Noel.
All right, I can see JC and then to Natalie. JC? No? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't. I forgot to take my hand down.
No problem. Natalie?
Hi, yeah. I know how to create a department, but how do you delete one?
Or how do you delete one?
Remember, I phoned you and we don't have access to that. So if you've raised one in error or you no longer need, you don't want people to actually pay on the ACMS, I mean, on the 7Me app. We don't have access to that. It's like blocked out.
That's very true, Natalie. Yeah, you contact the NEC and then we can delete it for you.
Okay.
Sorry, just to clarify, Becky, just so when you create a department, you are able to select or deselect what is visible on the AC on the 7Me app. Is that feature not there anymore? Just double check.
No, I think so. Let's say they've created this Sunday breakfast, and then later on they discover that they don't want it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about. And then they really can't see it because they don't have that future. So it's us at the NSC who needs to delete it.
Yeah.
I hope it answers your question.
Alethea?
Sorry if it was mentioned last week, but what's the minimum amount you put on the asset register? Like, is there anything over £50, anything over £100?
Yeah, Sandra said there is no minimum.
No minimum.
Yeah, so you can, whatever the asset cost, and if you know that you want it to be insured, you put that value in.
Okay, thank you.
Simon?
Errol?
Oh, hello, Becky. Thanks for your presentation. In regard to vendors, people or businesses that we pay, how's that recorded on ACMS? Is that separate to the membership, or how's that handled?
It's a good question. Noel is going to cover it when he does the payments.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Wonderful. I think we are done. Praise the Lord. I'll hand over to my colleague.
One more, Becky.
Darren, how are you? How are you?
Sorry. I've never used ACMS before, you see, so
Go ahead,
I've only
man.
become treasurer this month, so I've got to get to the bottom of it. Assets. Are they, if the previous treasurer hasn't used ACMS before and did the assets via paper and liaising with the NEC directly, are those assets still listed on ACMS?
No, unfortunately, Darren. So what you have to do is what we all have to do, which is we have to go in your church, check out the assets which are still active, and then you have to put them one by one on your ACMS. And I know it's painful at the beginning, but I think once you have it on your ACMS, then you're gonna be a happy treasurer.
Yeah, and thank you. And if you make a mistake with or someone else, for example, if somebody gives a different currency in the loose change, for example, and you didn't notice, and then when you went to the bank afterwards, they noticed. If you put a certain amount in ACMS, can you edit it or delete it, or do you have to go through the conference direct to let them know?
Okay, yes, it's a very good question. It has happened in our church. I go to Grantham Church sometimes. Actually, this last week we had a euro, thinking that it's a pound. What I normally do, I don't know what other treasurers does. I don't normally post or close the batch before I, verify with the bank.
Yeah.
So that is our norm. But let's say you have closed the batch, ACMS allows you to, obviously, once you close the batch, you cannot really do anything on that particular offering.
Yeah.
You can reverse it on the next batch that you're doing.
Oh, so you can reconcile it on the next batch. Okay, thank you. And one more question. Bank statements. So when you're entering in your tithe and offering from the bank statements, you, I think you said to do it week on week, but if it takes a few days to come onto your bank statement, that might cause a few issues. Could you do that month on month, or does it have to be weekly?
Absolutely, Darren.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, instead of doing your banking, myself, I do it once in a month. Like, for instance, I wait for my statement to come, and then I enter all the income that is on my bank statement in one goal as one batch.
Yeah.
It normally helps me.
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Just one quick question, please, if I may. Can I ask, how do you attribute a value to a old asset or a pre-existing asset? You gave the example of a TV that was going to be procured, and it's obviously easy to get the value of the TV and upload the receipts and so forth. But in order to keep the asset register accurate and also to ascribe a value for insurance purposes or insurance replacement purposes, as I'm sure that's one of the underlying purposes of the register, how would you attribute a value to a pre-existing asset?
That's a very good question, Jeremy. I think normally in our church, even if the asset has been depreciated a lot, we still keep the value the way that we have purchased it. Because, once it's damaged, you want it to come, the way you bought it, if you know what I mean. However, that's what ACM, IRAM are encouraging us to do. But let's say your asset is now gone and is dead, you can able to take it out from the asset register as well. ACMS allows you to dispose it so that you can able to add a new one.
Jeremy, on top of that as well, if I remember correctly, what you'd probably want to have as well as the replacement value as well. So it may not be a like for like. It may not be there's that like for like. If it's a really old asset, but you probably what would be the reasonable replacement, and then from there you'll be able to record it there. Essentially, you want this information, so then when it comes to the side of the year, you can then share that information with IRM in terms of our contents and stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
JC?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to ask, I'm assuming this asset register is only for items that are going to be insured.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful. We're going to hand over to Noel. Unless if it's Jackie. I see Jackie Ladywood.
Good day, everyone. Hi, Becky. I've put it in the chat, but it's a lot of information in regards to how to use the system. But for me, it's just information coming through. Is there any plans of having a practical demonstration so that we can be more aware of how the system is actually used and just
Actually, Jackie, you missed on the connected leadership. We missed you actually. You were supposed to be there. That's why sometimes that's why we do our hands-on kind of experience. So please come to those kind of events when we've got a connected leadership. However, our colleague Noel can able to help you, as well with on one-on-one. So there's those opportunities that you can have.
So if we want to have a demonstration in our church, we can contact Noel?
Jackie, let me step in here. What we do on a monthly basis, we have monthly training sessions, and we go over certain and yeah, so the next one will be in February. It's the first, so basically the first Thursday of every month, we hold ACMS Treasury training. And there we go through other topics. We go through new features. We go through some historic features as well that we've done, just to help the user as well. So yeah, we've tried to make ourselves available. And then what we do as well is record the sessions as well and then make those available. So you'll find those on the BUC website. Just to let you know, if you go on there right now, just because there's been a change, you may not see some of the previous videos. So I'll check up with the BUC tomorrow over the next few days to see when those videos be re-uploaded. But yeah, so that information.
Okay, can you have information as to when how to log on to those trainings, please? Is that available?
Yeah, so we send out an email on a monthly basis, and
Or I've never received one.
yeah, because you haven't been a user, and then if you're in the WhatsApp, in the Treasury WhatsApp group, I put it in there on a monthly basis.
Okay, I've just sent my information last week so I've not been added as yet. Thanks. All right, thanks very much.
You're welcome, Jackie. You're welcome. Wonderful. Noel, take over, my brother.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. I'll be taking you through expenses and reports. Let's start with expenses. For expenses, I will try to show you how you can record your expenses. This is the example I'm going to use. So these three transactions will be recorded together with you. And also I will try to show you how you can, even though it's not advisable, but it can happen that you give money out and you need to record it as advance, how to record it. And also when the person bring back the report, how you can record it as expense. So these three I will go through with you on the expenses aspect. So let's go back to ACMS. Let me stop sharing this one and come back to. Okay, so we always go to home and come under income, you will see expense. You click on it and you have the first line for advance. You go to the second one that we are the main focus that we are working on now.
Sorry, brother, I'm still seeing your
seeing the
Excel
Excel
spread.
sheet.
Yeah.
So when you click on expense, it brings you to this area.
Noel,
Yes.
We only can see your Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, sorry. I thought, sorry, let me, yeah.
Web browser.
Can you see something now as a demo expense?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay, so let me go back then. So I'll go back to home, and from home, try to find out expense, click on it, and select the second one for expenses. And for when you get here, you click on new. According to the expenses that I was going to record, the first one is for Pathfinder, for renting a car. So I'll go to a department, select the department that is related to, that is Pathfinder, and the category is the type of expense that I'm going to record. And this one is related to travel. Look for travel, and I can see this, because it's car renting, it's travel. I click on this one, and when the expense took place, it was on the 11th of September 2023. And the amount is 350. and come to the type of the payment that was used. I click on it, I mean the justification. I can see that it's either invoice or pay by check or direct debit. Here it was paid by check. And the check number that I used was 1611. And it was paid to a supplier called Car Rental. And the description is vehicle rent for PBE activities. Okay, then I click on include.
It says, sorry, brother, it says direct debit. You said it's check, right?
Oh, I can go back. Yes, now that I notice that I make a mistake, I go back. Here you see the pencil. Thank you. And you go back like this. I give you the opportunity to change where you have made a mistake. And I say check and I click direct debit. Then I click here and I go back and I can see that we have check here. And I save it. I come here to update what I have done. Now that we are happy with it, we go for the payment. And I click payment. Here I have a list of source of that I can use for my payment, but I notice that since it's check, is through my bank. So I take bank and I click pay. I can also put special description if I put the description that I've already used. Like a vehicle rental for PBE activities. You can also copy and paste, so you don't need to copy it. Then you put click on pay and you confirm. That is done. You can go back if you need to make another payment. For our SICs, we still have another 2 payments. I click on new, come back to the department. For this one, the department is Women Ministry. So I look for Women Ministry, which is this one. And it was flower purchase. So the category should be related to flower. So I click on this one. The date is on the 26th of September. And the amount is 427. It's still paid by check. So I come here and I select check. If it's were cash, I can use here. Now that it's check, I click on this one and the number of check it was 1613. And the supplier, this time around, it was paid. This actually it was cash because someone paid and we reimbursed the member. So this time we don't put the check, but you need to put some indication here as number for you to go ahead. And it was paid to Mary Smith. Because she paid and we are reimbursing the payment. And it was flour. And you click include when you are happy with the information you have. And if you are not happy, you can click here and go back. What I told you, you can copy it. If you make any mistake, you can go back and change it as I did. And when you're happy, you click on update. If you do not change anything, just click cancel and you bring it back as it is. Then I go for payment. And I say it was paid by cash. No, the person paid by cash, but I'm going to reimburse by check, isn't it? No, I pay by cash, then I put this one, I put the description and pay. Since it's a demo, that's why I'm saying cash, but do you recommend all payment to be by bank, either check or transfer, so that you can give some track of it? Now the last one, it was, want to pay the last one, I click new. It was paid, is a rent paid to the NEC Council. It was paid by his church budget, through church budget, and here is rent. It was for on the 30th of September. The amount is 495. This time is a direct debit. I put a reference from the invoice, that the document we received. And here is a council, Nottingham Council. And here is rent from July to September. I'm happy with it. I click on include and click on payment. If for some reason I did not click on payment and I go out from this area, what is going to happen is that I will lose this transaction because it's not safe. So it's better you click on payment to complete the transaction. And it selects this one and the description and click on pay and confirm. That is done. So the 3 expenses has been recorded. When you want to see what has been recorded, and if you are on home and you come back to expense, what I've put there disappear, you will come here and search for it. So this time around, I want to see what I have recorded in bear with me because we are working on 2023. Make me. Okay, 2023 and September. And I want to search from 1st to 30th, for example. Okay, I leave it open. If I know which department I want to look for, I will put it here. But since I want to see every expenses that has been recorded for that period, I leave it open. I don't put any amount because I'm not after a specific amount. I want to see all. So I click search and you bring everything that has been done. And if for some reason I recognize that I make a mistake, I can still go back and correct it. Now I click on the pencil, I can go and correct it. Since I'm sure that what I have put is correct, I'll leave it. But I'll show you just in case you want to correct something. That is how you record your expenses. We recommend that most of the payment being done and reimbursement is done after, not giving advance. But if it's happened that we give advance, how can we record it? You come to, let's go to home, come under expense, and we have the first one, advance petty cash. For these exercises, we have two advances that we want to record. The first one is payment done for Sabbath school department, and the second one for church budget. So let's go for the first one. You always click on new. After new, how the payment went on is through bank. And which department we say Sabbath school. This one, the amount was 150. A date is September 7. And who received it? Here, the advance was paid to with Smith. Let me see. Stop. Okay. I have Jason Smith who took the money, and it was book purchase for visitors, and save it. So the advance has been recorded. And the second one was, I click on new again, sorry. And this time is still paid by a bank. And which department? Church budget. The amount is 400. And the date is on the 14th, for example. And here, was paid to Dudley, and it's a cleaning material. And save it. And when I want, I can go back and see how much advance I have. I go to 23. If I want to check only for September, I put 9, but I want to check it for all of them. That is pending. So I click on search. So I have a list of them. So for the second part of my presentation is to show you how you can clear the advance that has been received. Let's assume that for this one of 200, we received the report that was done before. You click on this yellow. No, actually you go back to expense as if you are recording, and it was done for evangelism, and the second one was 150, and it was done for evangelism, and the other one for this one 150 for Pathfinder. So we want to clear it since we got the report. So you go back to expense as if you are going to record it. Now you click on expense again, and you click new. The department we say is evangelism. You look for it. And what it was for is that they purchased some books. So we put books here, and the report was received on the they brought the report at the end of the month. So I put this one, and the amount is 200, I said. The type, it was paid by check, and the check number was 1601. Now you put the name of the supplier. I was done, and the supplier is Advent Press, for example. Description is book for outreach. I copy it just in case I need it. And I click on include. Here is where we have the difference. Instead of going for payment, we go for this orange color because money has been already been paid. We click on it. And when you click on it, you come to the drop down because the account that we selected is already being considered. Now we can see the amount that is here. You click on it, and you click insert, and you close it. That is done. And you save the batch. You don't go for payment, but just save the batch. And you are done for this one. And the second one, you go to new again. Department is Pathfinder. This time around is travel. No, not only travel, but because we have lodging included. So take the second one. And the report was received, and the amount is 150. The type of payment, we say check, and the check number is 1605. And here is car rental. No, this the person that got the money is Gary. Sorry, it's Grant Harry, and it's for Pathfinder travel expense for Pathfinder. Let's say to London, for example. And you click on include, as I said, and you come to the yellow again because it's advanced. That has been remitted, and you click on the drop down, you will see that because you select the department over there, it brings you the balance that we have, the transaction that we have for that department. And you click insert, and you close it, and save the batch. That's all. And the advance has been clear. That's all for this part of expenses, advance petty cash, and also clearing the advance that had already been paid. Over to you, Michael, for the question.
Thank you, Noel. I know that it's a lot to take in, and I'm going to share some information with you very shortly. But I can see there's a couple of hands. So Jeremy, and then Joseph, and then Timothy, please, in that order.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Noel. Before I ask my question, I just want to say thanks for the support that we've received to issues that some of the issues that we've had, and some of the teething problems that we've had in coming to terms with the platform, and all the emails that we've sent in have received a very timely response. So thanks for the support you've given. One question that I have is in regards to the expenses that have been incurred that then hit a budget, and how that budget then reflects that expenditure. So, for example, in simple terms, if the budget, let's say, is £100 for the Pathfinder department for the year, they've spent £50 and have £50 remaining. At times, we get requests as the Treasury team for an up-to-date balance as to what's been spent by a particular department. How is that accurately reflected in ACMS? Sorry, there is a part B to that question, which let me ask it now rather than ask a second question. Also, that budget can be comprised of what the church has awarded and also donations received. So let's say the church has awarded £100 budget for the year, and they've received donations of another £100, which does form their total budget, but not the budget allocated by the church. So what we want to see is that if there's an expenditure, how do we get an ongoing balance, remaining balance for each department?
Okay, thank you so much. This question is related to the second part of my presentation. If you don't mind, can we do the presentation on the report, and then you take your question if you still have question for that?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, Joseph and then Timothy, and then those will be the two questions, two people, and then we'll move on to the second part of the question, the presentation. I know that we do want to finish by 1 o'clock.
Yes, just a quick one. So the first question is, how do you deal with petty cash interest? So you were talking about we using checks and all that. It seems you are not keen on we using cash. So in the case of petty cash interest and all that, reimbursement and how to make the payments, how does that go? The second one quickly, how do you record non-departmental expenses? So for instance, if you've got anything like administrative expenses, stuff like that, which is not, basically attributed to a department, how do you go by that? And do I need to add?
But let's go one by one so that we can.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So how do you deal with petty cash systems? So basically, we've gone to withdraw the money. How does the recording goes? If we are disbursing the cash, it's on a cash basis. So basically, how does that go? And then probably if you can talk about non-departmental expenses here and there, especially administrative expenses, which is not linked to a particular department. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The first one, if I understand it very well, does it mean that you withdraw money from your bank account to your cash account? Is that what you are saying for cash interest?
So petty cash system, the interest system that we use, you've got a cash at hand, and that is what you use to make it, purchases here and there,
Okay. So in
like
case you transfer money from your bank account to your cash interest, you go to financial, and here this line allow you to make transfer either from cash to bank or bank to cash.
I can't see your screen, so I don't know.
Oh, it's not. Oh, can you see my?
We can see your screen.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, you go to.
It's now in. Yeah.
Let me click on home. From home, you go to financial. And from financial, you have cash and bank transfer. Either when you click on it, you come here and you click on new. This part is either you transfer money from your cash to your bank account for those who collect their cash and they don't bank it on the same period while they are recording their transaction on ACMS. They can use also this one when they have done it and later on money has been transferred to their bank account, they can still use it as transfer from cash to your bank account. But the opposite also exists. When you have taken money from your bank account to your cash account, you also use this part. You come to new. This demo is not give me the hand, but when you click on new, it will give you the account the money is coming from and the amount and where the money is going to. So let's say that your money, you are taking it from your bank, you select your current account where the money is paying from, the amount, and where it's going to, like cash. You select it and give the explanation, you save it. Since this one is not giving me the hand, so I can't go for any further of that. I hope.
Yeah, I think I've got a fair idea of it. So
answer your question.
Yeah, I've got a fair idea of it. So if we get a main system, I think we'll be able to.
All right. I'm just going to quickly move along because we're time pressured. Timothy, do you want to answer your question? We'd only take one question, so if you've got multiple, I apologize. So
no worry. I will even reserve the rest after the second presentation. Probably maybe he's gonna address it. The only one I wanted to ask is I have savings account and I have a current account. I want my bank account to balance with my system. I want to transfer money from my current to my savings. How do you do it in ACM in order for them to balance?
It's the same place. You come to home. When you are at home, you go to financial and you go to bank and cash transfer. It will be transfer from bank to bank, but not the same bank. If it's the same bank, it's not going to work.
But
so you can transfer from your
same
current
bank,
account
but current to savings. But the same bank.
You can do that. Or you can transfer it from your saving to your current. It can work. But on the same place here. It's the same principle with cash. Unfortunately, it's not working for the moment. But on the okay, it's not.
I get it. I get it.
All right. Thank you, Noel. Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm literally this second just putting the ACMS training PDF files for income and expenses. So just download that when you have a moment. So it's just uploading to the chat. But as we continue, Noel, if you do the second half, and then we will probably take a couple of questions, and then we will go through just a few fun updates. I do see some of you that are seeing the numbers have dropped just a little bit, but please just remain because in regards to the NatWest Bank, it may affect you. So please just stay on the call. Thank you.
Okay. The second part of my presentation is about reporting. Which report do we need when it comes to presenting to our board? You go to home and you come under report here, and from report, you have the departmental treasury. And when you click on it, you have the department balance. You click on it. Here you have different options, either by department, and the question that our brother asked is something related to annual budget, where we have the breakdown. But this time, the demo, because we did not set the budget, and if you, in your system, you do not set the budget, you cannot use this aspect. This aspect won't work, won't allow you. Until you have the budget in ACMS, then you can use it. since we don't have it on the demo, we won't use this one, but this part will be useful. We can click on it. And you have this report generated that give the summary of your department income, expenses, and any movement of your department. You have the initial balance, the payment that come through, the distribution just in case is related to the percentage of allocation, your expenses that it was recorded, and money that went out and in, and advance as we recorded, and now you have the final balance. This is one of the reports that we can generate. And also the other one is the financial report. We have another monthly summary as well. Let me take from here. Okay, when you come to this one, we have two reports that we can also generate here. We have the first one that also give the summary, as we said. We have this one per category. You have the income. You have the. Let me select only 1 month so that we can easily see it. Sorry, let me select only September, so that it will be more readable. So we have this income. We have the total of all income if you select more than one period, and also we have the expenses, and you have income and expense. That is one of the report. But the main one that I would like you to remember is this one. The last one, that's a financial graph where you have the more input for your presentation as well. Is this one. Since we don't have much information, that's why it does not look as we are expecting. Otherwise, it takes 12-month period, and it will start all over from the beginning till the end, and it will give you the graph for the income and also another graph for the expenses. And this breakdown, you can also have it on the first report that we generated on the department summary. Now, if for some reason someone wants to see the detail of their bank statement or any account statement in terms of financial aspects, they can also come to Treasury, the first one, financial Treasury transaction. And when they come here, they can select under bank account, they can select which one they want, if they want to have a particular one. Let's say I want to see the breakdown of my, the statement of my bank account. I click on it, and when I want to see it, I want to see only for September, or I can see it from the beginning of 2003 till now. But to make it simple, let's select one period, and you have it like this. And when you list it, you will see all the movement that has been recorded under your bank. But if you want to see all the account that exist for analysis purposes, you can just click on all, and you bring all the account that is listed here. So the first one is the conference clearance account. The second one, we have your bank account and your cash account. And if you have many accounts, it will list them all. And yeah, I think that's it. And if you want to see the detail of transaction on one of the departments, you can also have it. You go to report, let me close a bit of report, and then you can. When you come to report, you go to departmental, and you select the second one, which is a departmental statement. You can see all, or you can select one of the department that you want to see. Let's say church budget. And you can select a period from whatever you want. But for this purpose, let's use only September, and you list it. The problem of this statement is that it have personal name. So we need to be careful of it. So we have the detail of that, all the transactions for this department for September. And you can see some people has put money on it. You can see their name. So that's why we need to be careful. That's all for the moment in terms of reporting.
Thank you, Noel. Jeremy, you have a question?
Yeah, very quick question. I'm not sure the answer will be quick though. In regards to the budget, how that is currently calculated is that we've got the budget which is allocated by the church at the start of the year, which could be X. However, a department could receive donations throughout the year, and I think what we need is a progressive, if you like, update of what that budget is through the year, because the budget is not just what the church allocates, what the board allocates at the start of the year. It's what happens throughout the year in terms of donations that are given. So the church may award 400, they may raise 1,000 in terms of donations. So why is that important? It's important in as far as when a department spends any amount of money and wishes then to make further purchases, I would like to be in a position to be able to inform them what amount has been spent to date and what they've got left in their budget to spend. It also helps the church manage its finances more effectively in knowing where each department is, both in terms of what expenditure has been made, but where they are in terms of the budget at that particular month.
Noel?
Yeah, that is a very good question, Jeremy. And I think, as you can see, this report that Noel has put on the screen, literally, as you know that in ACMS, you can budget using your percentages, or you can do the fixed. So it will tell you the monies that they've come in. It can come in through transfers, as you can see here, transfer in, transfer out.
No, but what it doesn't do, it doesn't, once you've set your budget, once you've allocated the budget, that's fixed. The donations are seen as a separate, a separate thing, if you like, in the system. So essentially what happens is that the calculation is made, any expenditure is calculated from the allocated budget, from the church granted budget. It doesn't include the donation that may have been given to that department. And I think going forward, that needs to be looked at, because then what it shows is a deficit.
Actually, you're right. You're right, Jeremy, to be honest to you. However, I think it's not the system, it's about the setup. So let's say, you set up your budget at the beginning as a fixed amount. So you need to tell the system, okay, let's say for church budget, for example, is £2,000. Once you have reached that £2,000, you can able to tell the system to do both in terms of the percentages, the monies that are coming into your church. Are you able to split it as a percentages so that it can able to increase from the initially budget that you have done so that it can
No,
increase?
I don't think. No, I don't think that addresses the issue. The issue isn't the budget. The issue really is the donations that are given throughout the year, because they're unpredictable. So what happens is that your budget at the start of the year, we could award, let's say, £100 to Pathfinders, but they could raise throughout the year a total of, let's say, an extra £1,000. But because the system doesn't recognize that £1,000 as the allocated budget, which was given at the start of the year. I mean, you did mention something that I'm just wondering whether we should retrospectively change the budget as we go through the year. So the budget then becomes a moving figure, if you like. So if we award £100, a donation comes in of another £100, we put that £100, we take that £100 from the donation and add it to the budget. And in that way, because what the system does currently, any expenditure, it calculates from the budget, not from the donations. It doesn't add the budget and the donations and then subtract an expenditure. It doesn't do that, because then you would know, then you'd have an accurate figure in terms of what's been spent and then what's remaining. So when I get asked the question, Jeremy, what's left in my budget? How much have we got to spend? I then have to make a manual calculation to say, well, okay, this is what it is, which is fine. But when you're reporting, when you're going to produce a report from the system, it's a little bit tricky. Do you have to explain what's happened rather than have the report speak for itself?
Yeah, right. But on this one, I can see.
Okay, 1 second. So with the report, so we have the direct deposits. So when people, for example, they use 7Me, and they make the offering, they have a specific, they allocate it to a specific department, or we get the paper reports. I would assume that you're selecting either 55 or 51, and then you're allocating it to the department.
That's correct.
Then it should come up in this direct line here.
Yeah.
So if we look across here, the initial balance in the pot was 2,164, and then by the time we get to there, it tell you what the final balance is.
No, what isn't shown on this table, though, Michael, is the budget. This isn't the budget report. This is departmental balance. But what it doesn't show is if you
excuse, can I come in? As long as we do not, long as you have, if you set up your budget, and as I told you, you can have access to it through this platform, where it's report. Go to a department. Sorry.
But as you told
I'm coming. I'll be there. You come to this one and you select this one. Then you will have the breakdown and your budget also associated to it.
No, but you don't. This is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't do as you're saying. What it gives you is the budget that was allocated by the church, but that is not accurate. The budget of a department is both what's allocated at the beginning of the year, but also what that department raises throughout the year, which could be double that figure. So any expenses will not be reflected accurately, because it's only subtracting those expenses from the allocated budget at the start of the year. It's not taking into account donations that are received. So then you're not able to really reflect what is remaining 2/3 into the year, and the department may have spent, whatever. The report doesn't reflect that accurately.
So just trying to say, so in that direct line, so this departmental budget, this departmental balances, the final balance, because remember we're working on a cash basis, methodology, and what you'll see here. So some of you may be familiar with things like Monzo. You can allocate the money to different pots, and I'm sure you understand this already. So, for example, when you look at church building, in terms of how much money you have left in terms of the building project, it will tell you got £2,219, and anything that you expensed from it, you will, once you put that expense in there, like you have with church budgets, the final balance that you have available to spend, which will relate to the money that you have in the bank, plus obviously your gift aid funds as well, it will be reflected here. So in your final balance column, and so in terms of how much, for example, children's ministries have left, you will tell them you have the initial balance was £996. They've spent X, or they received X, which will show in the direct and in the expenses column. And then your final balance will show you what you have remaining, or what they have remaining as a department. Okay. All right, Lethea.
Can I just check? When you say budgets, normally you set budgets annually. So how do we go about, is the system, on a normal financial system, you'd close down like at the end of March, so, and reset again for your normal budgets in April. So how do we do this in ACMS? So how do we set new budgets?
Noel?
Yeah. For the budgeting, you go to department, and under department, you have here annual budget. You click on it. And you have the list of your department and the annual budget that you want to allocate to it. This is one part of the budgeting. The other part is the offering distribution. Since you are based on the distribution of the pot, then you allocate the percentage of the distribution for those amount that will be on the church offerings, 51. Anything on the 51 will be distributed according to the percentage that was indicated here. And we have a fixed budget that also is also indicated here. And you can also indicate the priority based on the amount that need to be paid here. That is one thing that I would like to indicate. So for budgeting, you go to department, and under department, you have annual budget and also the offering distribution.
Does that change the original budget in there? So if there was a budget in there already for Pathfinders, and it just, for instance, it was wiped for this year, do we have to go back and take anything out, or does it just reset? Or do we just put a new budget in and it overrides the last one? Or do you understand what I'm saying? So if for instance, Adventurers had got and Pathfinders had a budget in from year, do we just rewrite it?
No, I think obviously your church board needs to vote for it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So once your church board says, okay, we've got this amount of money that we have, then you have to distribute it accordingly to what your church has voted.
Well, yeah, that's the key thing. So as soon as you, as a church board, you vote what you need to do. Obviously, this is based on cash accounting. You will then move the funds accordingly. And then what you'll see when you look at, for example, the departmental reports, you'll see that the pots will change accordingly. And so then you'll see the balance of what is left. And yeah, you see the column there distributed. So that would move. So for example, the majority of the funds would most likely be stuck in the church budget, and you're going to move funds from there into the relative department, and then you'll see the remaining balance there.
And if you don't want to allocate a percentage, you just want a fixed budget, does it just do the same thing?
Yeah, so the system is fluid, so then you can have it as a fixed percentage, you can take it, you can have a certain amount, or you set it for everything to go into church budget, and then you move it accordingly. So yeah, the system gives you options, and then from there you'll be able to allocate what you need to do. All right. I'm going to take 3 more. Jeremy, you've asked a question already, and I'm realizing time is 1 o'clock.
I have a question, just a very quick comment, if I may. Very, very quick comment. If we could get further trading for the...
Let Natalie go first. I'm going to go in the order. I'm going to okay. Natalie?
Hang on, can you hear me? Mine was just to agree with what Jeremy said. The only way I get around it is I add them, so we put the budget on to what the church board have approved in the church. But if we, like last year, we had income that came in for one department, and the only way to actually reflect that in, because then they set the budget, say, for 400, but the income coming in was 800. But we spent money. So the only way to start that is to add it in the budget. Otherwise, you can only see it. The only way to see it is on the department balance sheet when you select per department. You can't see it on the overall.
Yeah, so
You see what?
just to be very clear that, and Becky can correct me if I'm wrong. That's actually okay. So when you receive that money coming into your bank account, when you receive that cash, then you have to assign it where you want it to go. Once you assign it to where you go, the final balance, you'll see that in the direct in the direct.
Yes, only on the direct heading, but you won't see it on the sheet that's on the screen now.
Okay, that one I can look into and have a look. But then what you should see is the final balance come there. But I'll write and I'll check. Because that's what's.
And it'd be like Jeremy said, it'd be really good if you had a column on this one that started with what the actual budget is, and then you can see what has changed, because then it's an overall picture.
Yeah. So
I thought the initial balance, that's not what it started at? Initial balance?
Yeah, so you have to remember that the initial balance is essentially the breakdown of the cash that you have in your bank. And from there, it's distributed. From there, it's then listed out according to the departments that you have. And then from there, you'll see the direct income, the expenses, the transfers in, all that, and the advances, and then you get the final balance at the end.
I get that, but it doesn't give you that lovely picture that it does on annual balance when the board want to see is that you've put it and you've loaded it right on ACMS and you can see the total, and then because you've got to take two sheets and add them to one to present.
Okay.
And it causes more work.
That's something I can look into, but I think the principle that we're looking at is based on cash accounting. So this departmental balance here, and if something's not loading on that, then I can query that. But this balance here should show you what cash you have and how it's been assigned across the departments, showing you what the final balances are. And the final balance is essentially the pots of money that you have for each department. And then from there, then you can give the churches, the board, what balances you have remaining. But if there's an error on that report, and that's something that we can check from our side as well, if something's not being pulled through, then we can look into that. But yeah, it's a change of principle in terms of our accounting method here. All right, Timothy, and then it will be Jeremy.
Great, thank you so much. As part of the transition process and reconciliation, is it possible that you can clear all your departmental balance and reconcile to balance your account and close the year 2024? Is it possible? Is the system permitting to do that?
So, if you want to move balances to, say, for example, you want to transfer money from adventurers to church budgets. I think, was it Becky or Noel explained that you can transfer?
They can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, my friend. What you can do, you can just
come here. You go to financial and department transfer.
Yeah.
And when you click on it, you can transfer from department to department.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you want to transfer from church budget to Pathfinder, you can do so. Here, and indicate the amount, the date, and the description. Let's say we want to transfer 500. And the date, let's say, 26, for example. And for PBA activity, for example, and then you put this one, it's gone. You can see that this money has been transferred from church budget to the other one.
Can you delete as well?
We should be able to, let me see first before
I think deleting is not right. Because Deleting is not right, my friend, because at the end of the day, remember, it's going to be audited. These things are going to be audited. So you rather transfer.
Okay.
They can transfer it back to correct what we have done.
All right. Jeremy?
Yeah, thanks. Just two points. First, I'm not sure the questions that I think they've been asked a few times, and I'm not sure the answers come back very clear. Do we close the year and then open a new year, or is this just an ongoing process that doesn't have a start and end date?
We close the month. Once we close the month, then it can allow you to go to the next month. So it's an ongoing until probably Jesus comes.
And if that happens to be a new year, then it's just a new month in a new year. Okay, fine. The second point I wanted, it would have been helpful if the annual budget field that Noel highlighted in his had been populated with an example, because then I think what the points we're trying to make would have been clearly shown, what it is we're trying to say. And if you go back to the screen that showed the departmental balances, what happens with the donations is they simply load into church budget, because what you've done is you've set your annual budget in the other departments, which do not change unless they're manually changed. However, the church budget figure will change. So let's say 3 of those departments, church music, evangelism, and men's ministries, had received donations of £1,000 each. They're not going to reflect here. They'll simply load into the church budget. So, of course, the final balance. So let me just quickly finish, Noel. So your final balances will not be an accurate figure unless you manually change them. And it would have helped to make this point if you'd have populated the annual budget in ACMS and then also allocated a percentage and gone through that entire process. That would have been really useful and really helpful.
Okay, no, thank you for that, Jeremy. As I said, today was really just to give in a top view in terms of just income and expenses, because that's what the majority of churches will be doing on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. In terms of that budget, because the principle is slightly different, and you have flagged up a couple of things that we probably need to have a quick look at and just double check ourselves with an actual church and just make sure there's not a different nuance with yourself. But we can definitely look into that. So that's not a problem whatsoever. So we do appreciate you bringing that up and see how we can create a report that will best facilitate. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. What we can do as well, because I know this is when we did have our initial meetings last year, we did go through some of the key concept changes in terms of from an accounting principle, in terms of how things are being recorded. And I think that would help some of these questions. So what I think we'll probably do is probably arrange another meeting so we can go through some of those initial presentations that we did last year, just to help through some of the concept changes, because I think that is quite critical in terms of understanding how to read the reports. So yes. At this present moment, I do see that the time has gone past 1 o'clock. If you can just bear with me for just 10 more minutes. There's just a couple of updates that I do want to share with you from the bank that may impact some of the churches. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. Obviously in the group chat, I have uploaded some of two of the presentations that we did on income and expenses for people. I've also put the documentation needed for the audits, so you have that there for you as well, so you can download it in the chat. So that information is there, and then if you go further up in the chat, you'll see the link to the ACMS Treasury YouTube page. So then you can look at some of the videos there for your assistance and just to familiarize yourself with the package. And as I mentioned to you earlier, in terms of the BUCs, in terms of the monthly meetings that we've had, you were to catch those recordings on there, but at this present moment, the website has been updated. All of those videos have not been uploaded as yet. So I will chase that tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier.